okay? Well, thank you for being here. Obviously, I've never raised any sons myself. However, I've walked with thousands of them on the journey from like 13 to 18, and I've read about everything I can get my hands on about teenage boys just because of the business I'm in. And I also remember my own teenage life very well. And so it's from those things that I speak this evening. By no means do I think I'm an expert, but I do think that, I can, because of the volume of the young people I've seen, maybe I can see some insights about them. And this is, it's a two-part presentation here tonight. One is understanding them, and the other part is guiding them on the journey. And they are two very different parts. And sometimes parents understand, but I don't think they're guiding them on the journey too well. And I've got a lot of stories I can give about that, but I'm just going to give one in the interest of time here tonight. And that's, a few years ago, we had a mom come to school, and she wanted to sell, well, she was selling T-shirts down in the school cafeteria during the lunch periods. We knew nothing about it, and so we go down there, and we see the T-shirts, and we say to the lady, "You can't sell these here. You cannot sell these." And she says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I should have checked with the office and arranged to give you a percentage of the sales." And I said, "That's not the problem. The problem is the shirts. You cannot sell these shirts to our students." And the problem was the shirts were promoting the hockey season, and on the front they had a nice silk screen, and it said, "Knights with shafts," a little bit suggestive. And then on the back it said, "Puck you," a little more suggestive, right? So, I said, you can't sell them. You cannot sell them. She thought it was a financial issue that she was not giving us a cut. But, I said, "No, it's the message." And she said, "Well, the boys like them. They think they're neat." And I said, "I have no doubt that the boys think they're neat." But see, I think she understood. She understood the young men, but I don't think she was helping to form them into good gentlemen. So it is definitely a two-part thing that we're going to be looking at here tonight. And really the whole night is about this. It's helping that boy on the floor become the man in the mirror, and what we can do to help him realize his dream, to be who he is and to be that well, to be who he should be and to be that well. And so we've got this whole thing about adolescence. So many people have wrote so many things about adolescence, and this is an old one, of course. The youth love luxury, bad manners, contempt for authority. They show disrespect for elders, no longer rise when elders enter the room. They contradict their parents, chatter before company, gobble their food, tyrannize their teachers. And it was Socrates who wrote that. 5 centuries before Christ, it was Socrates. So adolescent issues are really nothing new. Adolescent issues have been around since the beginning of the human race. But something that is new is the extended period of adolescence. In the early 10th century, puberty was the onset of puberty was about 16 or 17 years of age. And that's kind of late. Now it's by 12, maybe before 12. And what's really changed is the end point, because the end point has really become extended. There's a guy who wrote a book called Guyland, and he writes about the phenomenon of people, of men in their 20s returning to live with their parents. They've had a college degree, good college degrees, successful in college. And he says they've taken dead-end jobs as waiters or bartenders. They don't have career plans. They still hang out with the guys they went to college with, and they move in with their parents. And so that end of adolescence is extending way out there. And you know, even our federal government has said, well, they can be on parents' health care until they're 26 years old. 26 years old. Now you imagine in 1950, those people who were in their 20s, they had already become the greatest generation. You know, they had fought World War II. Could you imagine someone in 1950, 26-year-old man, still living with his parents? It wasn't happening. But today, you know, that period has extended. So while adolescence in itself is nothing new, it does seem to be extending over a greater period of time, You know, when we had 2011, 9/11/2011, I walked into my senior seminar class one day, and I saw these guys sitting there, and I thought, my God, they could be fighting in a real war. They were the guys who were fighting a real war in World War II. And I looked at them and thought, not one of them belongs in a war, not one of them. Because I don't think they're ready for that. So that period of adolescence has extended. This is interesting. This guy, David Dobbs, he wrote this article in National Geographic magazine, and he says, in scientific terms, teenagers can be a pain in the ass, but they are quite possibly the most fully, crucially adaptive human beings around. It was an interesting article in National Geographic, and he says that, you know, the adolescent is a blessing and a curse, and the way he is a blessing and a curse, because he seeks sensations, okay, and he wants to have dangerous things, and he seeks out dangerous sensations, but also positive things, because it's during that time of adolescence that he has this urge to meet new people and spread his wings and go places, especially among his peers. He wants to try out new things. He wants to experiment. He wants to master challenges. Boys love challenges. And those are all really good things for an adolescent. So while there's a lot of difficulty with adolescence, there are also a lot of positives for an adolescent.